Hi, welcome to this new moon in Leo reading for the period surrounding July 28th, 2022. So we're looking from the time that you watch this until approximately the second week of August. Now, of course, it can have a greater influence than that, particularly because we are, of course, in Leo season. Obviously, the new moon marks the season that we are in. And it's really where the acceleration takes hold. And you may have already been feeling the beauty and the intensity of Leonine energy coming in. I certainly felt a radical shift in me. I had been really caught up in Mars energy that was antagonistic, frustrated, unanchored, but at the same time unexpected. It was very Uranian too. And as soon as Leo season began on the 22nd, I was like a new person, and I felt the self-confidence, I felt the self-belief, I felt a comfort in myself, an ability to be able to accept myself as I am in ways that Cancer season had really shifted about quite a bit, as it tends to do. So, one more Cancer season down. I look forward to embracing Cancer season increasingly as I mature, but obviously as I'm still very much in my egoic shell, I still struggle with that emotional reckoning. And in the end, it's very nurturing, of course. It is the mother, it is the protector, but we don't do a good job of nurturing ourselves a lot of the time, and where we are not nurturing ourselves, we'll get a giant spotlight on it in Cancer season. So, are you feeling the midpoint of summer? That's exactly where we're at, believe it or not. And there seems to be an energy of resolution, but also reconciliation to the circumstances, acceptance, drive, connection, association, combination, clarity, affiliation. Lots of these energy words of collaboration, union seem to be coming together, and in my mind, it's the energy that's coming out of me. And of course, the irony is that, in all honesty, from my perspective in my life, nothing could be further from the truth in terms of the manifestation around me, although there's a desire for interconnectivity, right? Of course, we also have Jupiter going retrograde, Uranus going retrograde. I don't even know the dates, but it's all very soon. We're not there yet. I don't really feel like dealing with that energy right now, but again, it doesn't really matter because Mars is also going into Gemini, which means that our way of interacting, our way of pushing ourselves forward, our way of lighting our fire in this Leo season will be driven by curiosity, communication, a natural flow towards exploration of duality in a kind, generous manner. So again, the retrogrades that we will experience are really opportunities for the inner manifestation of what we have experienced outwardly. Um, so we'll explore that more when we get to it. I actually love Jupiter in retrograde. There's always a lot of inner evolution, revolution even, that comes from that, just in the sense of what we find we're capable of doing and of manifesting and of experiencing. So that is always something to be heralded. Let us get right into our cards. I actually didn't pull that many cards this week, so maybe it won't be so long for you. But obviously, I'm going to start with our Spirit Animal Oracle card of the week, or the new moon in Leo energy. Forgive me for going back to the weekly concept. I have actually been wanting to do weekly videos lately, but I really wait until I feel the push to move into communication, and I found it today. So, White Raven Spirit, number 66. Trust in the magic. What is the oracle message of White Raven Spirit? Nothing in the universe is random, for the intricate web of co-creation weaves together all events, and has done so since the beginning of time. Coincidences have meaning, and White Raven Spirit appears to remind you to pay attention to these synchronicities so that you might recognize patterns. Even the winds dance in a pattern, participating in the magic of Spirit's plan for all. Align with the highest good and intentions, and you will come to see that White Raven is guiding you, an ally to you and a messenger from Spirit. Align with the light, and you will start to recognize that all is working together harmoniously in ways the eye can't comprehend, and the mind... No, that's wrong. The eye can't always see, and the mind can't always comprehend. The universe is conspiring on your behalf right now, drawing you to the light and bringing you to the magic and the miracles that are your birthright. Now is the time to trust in the magic of the world that is everywhere and in all things. Pay attention to how things come together as if by magic, and you will see the hand of Great Spirit arranging things in your favor. And when you're not in resistance, everything that you experience is in alignment with Spirit and the universe, right? I mean, that's just, everything's within the universal law, and in accepting, you can't really feel bothered by anything that manifests, because even if it is temporarily uncomfortable or unpleasant, it's always the opportunity for a correction. And we're magicians, and so we know how to manifest to shift that, right? It happens really fast now. Just in case anybody's wondering, with my giant glass, thinking that I might be some kind of an alcoholic or something, it is sparkling water with a special edition kombucha that is coconut, cherry, and I don't remember the third ingredient, but something interesting. It's actually quite delicious. I should have bought more of them. Let's read the protection message, just in case. I don't feel that we're really in protection mode right now, but you never know what hurdles we might cross this coming week. Are you being distracted by the illusion of a chaotic universe? Deep in your heart, you know the world is full of magic, and White Raven has appeared to remind you that the ways of the world can cause spiritual amnesia. Stay awake and alert, for Spirit wants you to enjoy the miracles all around you. Remember, the evidence of divine order can be seen everywhere. Ask for a sign and it shall be yours. Synchronicities happen all the time. So if you're in time of challenge or feeling cynical, all you need to do is ask for a reminder. White Raven will appear to reassure you that all of this is leading to something better, for magic is in the wind. And there's a little magic creature showing up. Oh, my baby, what are you doing? Sorry, I was distracted while I was reading because I could see him doing weird things out of the corner of my eye, but I know you don't want any love, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway. Okay, bye. Yeah. Yes. No, don't get on the table, please. Enzo. No. 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 I love you. There you go. Um. Good boy. I swear that when my cat is mad at me, he like gives off extra allergens because if his fur touches my face, like when I'm annoying him, it seems to cause me to get very itchy. Um, okay, we got two cards. Apparently, I'm incapable of picking them up off of my glass coffee table. From the Soul Journey deck, and I think it's interesting to see what this is all about. This energy, blame. Interesting to navigate and to contemplate blame in Leo season because it is a very self-centric energy, and um, maybe we get caught up in the jovial roar of being the center of attention and wanting to manifest ourselves as central point of all that happens in our environment. Um, And there might be a little bit of a sense of not wanting anybody to rain on our parade, and that might lead to blame. But then there's also self-blame. So let's see about the boundaries of responsibility. I accept responsibility for my well-being. It is so easy to give away the power to transform your life. Certainly, there have been people along your path who have shaped you into what you are today, but you are solely responsible for your own happiness. The ego can be a very fragile thing, and if it comes under fire, the first instinct is to blame an outside force. Victim consciousness weakens the connection that you have to your soul source. This mindset says, I don't have the power inside myself to break free because someone else's power is stronger. This is an illusion. When you believe that someone else is responsible for your problems, that belief is the problem. Personal responsibility can empower you to change your reality. Lasting transformation always begins on the inside and works its way out. There is a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason is valid and unavoidable. An excuse is an attempt to shift the blame. Well, we'll see how that manifests in our new moon in Leo energy, but it was accompanied by the empathy card. Again, sorry, these are on very shiny stock, so it's always difficult to show them. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation, which you can see how that could complete that blame message, right? Again, when we're in flow, we don't have to resist it, but I do have to say that there's a little inner voice inside of me going like, "Ugh, what's coming up?" Probably nothing. Probably just contemplation, how we navigate not wanting to be too boisterous, wanting to be empathic in our approach to those who are not feeling in their leonine element, you know? You don't truly understand others' motivations if you haven't lived their lives and seen the world through their eyes. It's so easy to judge another's behavior matched up against your own and label it as right or wrong. But you're missing an important part of the equation, the other person's history and personal path. We are all sparks of the divine, with a purpose here in the physical dimension, and we can all exert our free will. Some of us have lost our way along that path to love, and it's a human reaction to judge others before examining their own journey through their eyes and with compassion. No, sorry, before, I don't know why I'm making these things up, to judge others, and it is a human reaction to judge others before examining their journey through their eyes and with compassion. Your job is not to judge, your job is to love and understand. And I can completely understand why that would be a prevalent energy when we are self-centric. Again, I'll use that term so that it doesn't have any negative connotation to it. Because there are lots of things that I can pinpoint in others as shortcomings, and of course I'm fully aware of my own, and I'm constantly working on my own shortcomings, as are you. But we do tend to, especially when we want to stay in a certain state of mind, we feel the gift of generosity of spirit, and then something happens, someone responds to us in a certain way, some work dynamic antagonizes us or makes us feel undermined, or somebody in our life isn't hearing us or isn't making the effort to be interested in our current journey. And then we have to take that time, first of all, to question whether or not we're doing the same for the other person or for other people in our lives. It doesn't have to be all, centered around one particular situation. And realize just how much we are out of alignment in that way when we feel resentful towards one person or one situation. Because to be able to feel that resentment implies automatically that there is a caveat or a condition that we have placed, that we have to examine and lessen. Um, anyway, I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to go right into the reading so that we can work through this relatively quickly. Our underlying energy, oh, I did use the Tarot of the Opposition for our primary cards, and then our clarifiers from the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. Of course, these are also very shiny, so I probably should have done this differently, but that is the Eight of Cups, unless you, if you can't see that, Eight of Cups. Represented here with a strong sense of empowerment in stepping away from what I interpret as shortcomings, behaviors that don't serve us, people and things and habits possibly as well that no longer fit. And obviously the emphasis couldn't be any stronger than having the clarifier on that come out as the Eight of Cups and also the King of Pentacles. So the combination of the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Cups really reinforces to me that it's the idea of what we value that has shifted, and therefore is pushing us to understand that we need to move beyond whatever those things are: people, things, circumstances, beliefs, habits, that is, yeah, exactly. We start our reading in the present with a bunch of cards came out randomly, so we'll just go with them. The Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. And these were clarified by the Fool. So the combination of an ace and the Fool is really a strong emphasis on the idea of the beginning of something of value to us. So there we have it, leaving behind things that were formerly of worth to us that are no longer of worth to us, and moving into something new, very fresh, that requires a leap of faith, that also requires quick action and communication, because that would be what the Eight of Wands implies. That means putting your pen to paper. That means putting your mind to the kaleidoscope of experiences on display and on offer. That means instigating, inviting, enveloping, imbuing things with your drive, with that, the excitement surrounding the newness of the energy of this time. What is happening here? Okay, so in our past, we have the Fool as well. So essentially, this is probably a reminder of the cyclical nature of these things, that at this point we have to see these cycles, the birth, the culmination, and then the I'll call it the death, but the Eight of Cups is a form of grief in its sense of letting go of something in order to make room for the new. But again, if we're focused on empathy rather than blame, we move into the light of possibility rather than being anchored in, more of a Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles, Three of Cups kind of energy. We don't even have Five of Pentacles. We haven't seen the Five of Pentacles in a while, so hopefully that means that we've learned a good lesson there. But it came with the Hermit and the King of Cups. So what is the newness of the Fool energy? It stems from the wisdom that we have culled from being more empowered in our emotional scope, being able to acknowledge how quick we are to understand the emotional dynamics of any situation that we find ourselves in. That means with ourselves too. Growing quickly into taking up the fullness of the space of emotional dynamics rather than cowering away from them, having the zest of curiosity and being unjaded. That's all I can think of in terms of the words. The clarifiers on that really do emphasize where this, once you accomplish that, especially with the King of Cups in combination with the Hermit, you've really got the idea of, almost something diametrically opposed to the Fool, because the Fool is a newness of, but then the newness is directed by the emotional intelligence of the King of Cups, and the insight of the hermit. But in order to move into that new energy, we have these two cards reversed, the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. So the Ten of Pentacles is the idea of letting go of an old end goal, an old legacy end goal. In other words, maybe because we're starting to understand how our three-dimensional world is shifting into very, very different dynamics, that our whole value system has had to change entirely. And this in turn has forced us outside of our comfort zone because, while the Nine of Cups can be the wish card, it's also the card of self-contentment on an emotional level. It's feeling that everything that we have in our lives is in alignment and therefore that we are enough, and therefore we exude emotional confidence and intelligence and generosity, and with no need to seek from outside. So this tells me that the recent past energies, or the foundation energies of this dynamic that we're moving into now, come from a need to observe where we have graduated to that point and understand that at this point in our life, we're also letting that go. We don't want to hold on to a sense of being satiated emotionally if we want to be able to invite new emotional dynamics into our lives. It's an implication there that we've probably spent a lot of time as the hermit on our own, internally driven, feeling that our biggest comfort derives from solitude. And that's kind of being tossed in the air. We'll see where it lands in this new Leo energy, new moon energy. So what's problematic for us, we have the Chariot in reverse. Again, it's terrible. I cannot show you these cards because of the glare. The Chariot in reverse is essentially a feeling of being stuck. And it's interesting that we have all of this newness, all of these shifting dynamics, and we understand this journey. It's pretty straightforward thus far, right? I mean, everything's kind of easy to correlate, but we feel stuck. Usually that's almost like when we clear the way, when we walk away from old habits, old dimensional perception, old restrictions, essentially. We don't necessarily know where to focus our attention next. So there's the wait, there's always that little moment which is new. It is the birth, it's coming out of the birth canal, and then there's this stillness of being out of the birth canal, and then it's like, well, what the fuck now? What do babies do? Usually they start crying, So, but that's the beginning of life, of the journey, right? So think about that in what happens when we let go of emotional restrictions, emotional walls in general. How many walls do you have up in your life? How many? I have a lot. Oh yeah. I have walls galore that I subconsciously have, allowed to be long established and unchallenged. And I can feel in my authority emotionally. I can feel in my, I can walk around like the soothsayer and the all-knowing Alex. But I don't dip my toe in the proverbial pond of a lot of different things because I've convinced myself that enough time has gone by since the trauma whether that be relationships, romantic relationships, for example. It's one easy example to give. And I'm like, well, subconsciously, I'm like, well, I'm not like open to risk and danger. Where else? I mean, there's tons of places in my life I could point to, but I'm not going to do that right now because the idea isn't to, like bare my soul. But it's the opportunity for us all to think about that in our lives. And it was clarified by the Four of Pentacles. So again, the Four of Pentacles is the idea of not feeling like we have enough or wanting to settle for less for fear of losing the little bit that we have. So it's usually one that's anchored in, a great sense of accomplishment of what we've built for ourselves. It can be material stability and comfort in our lives. And then just wanting to maintain that status quo. Um, okay, I've reached this point, and now I'm not going to focus on the fact that eventually I'm going to be bored of having the same routine lifestyle. Um, I will just hold on tight to this because this is enough. And like, I know that at some point it was a goal. I reached it. And now I'm just going to not live beyond these boundaries. Well, that's not how life works, right? We have to constantly be challenged to grow and the only way to do that is to challenge the status quo, to try something new. And when we don't, eventually, the resistance builds and we create a tower moment or, some form of um, breakdown to be able to follow that natural law. Um, so that's what we have to focus on letting go of. And maybe the blame and empathy cards and trusting in the magic of the universe and looking for the synchronicities is a lot to do with what will get us out of that and not focus on that, right? Um, in our future energies, we have another ace, the Ace of Wands, the Page of Swords. So this combination, Ace of Wands, is, divine inspiration. It is this leonine energy that I was describing earlier, which you probably feel. It's just, we all feel it on some level, where there's just that extra little zest, that little extra um, bounce in your stride, that little extra ability to see the brighter colors and to feel things more with more enthusiasm, energy. Generally, when we come into Leo season, we do feel a huge energy boost. I mean, at the midpoint of summer, sorry to those of you in the southern hemisphere, but you can relate to it from your own experience of that midpoint in, whatever that is, January, February, somewhere around there. Um, um, And it does apply still, even if you're in the heart of winter right now where you are, like it's the same thing. It's like it's a point of um it's just a different type of inspiration that comes from, the healing seasons, the quieter, more insular seasons. So and you still can feel the fire, the element of fire you're still going to feel too. I just want to clarify that. Um, so where was I? So with that intensification of the inspiration, the drive, like feeling like the things in our life that we see around us, embrace with more enthusiasm and magic. The Page of Swords is also there to remind us of how we have to maintain an open mind. We have to maintain a sense of um, newness in our approach to everything, to be able to experience things differently than we have, and here comes the clarifier, expected. The Three of Wands generally we look at as being, waiting for our ships to come in. It, in this context as a clarifier, really speaks more to the idea of what are our expectations and how can we challenge our expectations through feeling inspired, not in a negative, restrictive way. Just kind of drop it, just let go of like how things have been or what our expectation is, and just be in the moment. Honestly, that's very leonine too. Be in the moment. You know, the lion doesn't fuck with anybody unless someone fucks with the lion. The lion basks in the sun, roams the land, does what he or she wants to do, driven by their primal urges. Um, Not like thinking like, oh God, like usually at this time of year those zebras start farting in my face or something. That's just not the way it works. Um, anyway, our outcome. No, that was our outcome. Sorry, I did this differently this week. Um, this time, I mean, new moon in Leo time. Um, this is actually what's in our favor in terms of moving the journey forward. We have the Ace of Cups. So it's a new sense of passion. It's being impassioned. It's being receptive. It's because that's essentially what the Ace of Cups is. It's all about being completely virginal to reception. In other words, we are not conditioned by past experiences that will get in the way of the flow of new emotional opportunities. Just be open, basically. Let go of all the conditioning. Let go of the conditions of your experiences. I mean, it's the whole reading basically points towards that, right? I mean, that is what everything has been about, from the Eight of Cups through to the Ace of Cups. In fact, that's a nice arc, right? And I just took a clarifier from Osho on this one as our outcome to understanding this integration process through this new moon in Leo. And we got the Three of Wands, the Three of Fire in this case, experiencing. The meaning is very different in the Osho deck, so I will read that for you. And of course, I'll hold it up because of the description. An experience is something that can be filed away in a notebook or captured on film and pasted into an album. Experiencing is the feeling of wonder itself, the thrill of communion, the gentle touch of our connectedness with all those that surround us. The woman in this card is not just touching the tree. She is in communion with it. She has almost become one with it. It is an old tree and has seen many hard times. Her touch is gentle, reverent, and the white on the inside of her cape reflects the purity of her heart. She is humble, simple, and that is the right way to approach nature. Nature doesn't bang any drums when it bursts forth into flower, nor play any dirges when the tree lets go of its leaves in the fall. But when we approach her in the right spirit, she has many secrets to share. If you haven't heard nature whispering to you lately, now is a good time to give her the opportunity. You just look around, look into the eyes of a child or into the eyes of your beloved, your mother, your friend, or just feel a tree. Have you ever hugged a tree? Hug a tree, and one day you will come to know that it is not only that you have hugged the tree, but that the tree also responds. The tree also hugs you. Then for the first time you will be able to know that the tree is not just the form, it is not just a certain species of the botanists talk about. It is an unknown God, so green in your courtyard, so full of flowers in your courtyard, so close to you, beckoning you, calling you again and again. And that applies to absolutely everything, right, in our lives. I mean, it's like literally the full spectrum of anything at our fingertips. We can commune with every aspect of our environment, whether that be strangers, neighbors, pets, the air around us, the ether, filled with spirit energy, you know. You just have to feel it, experience it. So that's our motto for the new moon in Leo. Experience it. Be open. And walk away from anything that holds you back from doing that. That is our video. I look forward to the next time. In the meantime, I wish you many blessings. Namaste.